What if everything you've been taught about fitting in, achieving, and being perfect was wrong? What if real happiness doesn't come from perfection, but from embracing imperfection? In the Gifts of Imperfection, Brené Brown shares a revolutionary truth. When we stop chasing other people's approval and start living with authenticity, courage, and compassion, we discover our greatest strength, our true selves. Brown spent years studying shame, vulnerability, and belonging, and she found a surprising pattern. The people who lived the happiest, most fulfilled lives weren't the ones who were perfect, they were the ones who were real. They didn't hide their flaws, they accepted them. They didn't pretend to have it all together. They lived wholeheartedly, with openness and self-acceptance. The book introduces what Brown calls wholehearted living, a way of engaging with life from a place of worthiness. It means waking up every day and saying, no matter what gets done and how much is left undone, I am enough. The first major lesson from the Gifts of Imperfection is courage, compassion, and connection are the foundations of wholehearted living. Brown explains that courage doesn't mean heroics. It comes from the Latin word cor, meaning heart. Real courage means telling the story of who you are with your whole heart. It's the bravery to show up authentically, even when you're afraid of rejection. Compassion, she says, begins with self-compassion. We can't give others what we deny ourselves. When we stop judging ourselves harshly, we create the emotional space to extend kindness to others. And connection, true connection, happens when we let ourselves be seen. The walls we build to protect ourselves from judgment also block love and belonging. The second lesson is let go of what people think. Brown calls this guidepost hasson for wholehearted living. Trying to please everyone is exhausting and impossible. When we chase approval, we lose authenticity. Wholehearted people don't waste energy trying to be liked. They focus on being real. They understand that authenticity means having boundaries, saying no, and being okay with not being perfect in everyone's eyes. She reminds us that authenticity is a daily practice, not a one-time decision. Every day, you must choose between fitting in and standing out. You can either trade your authenticity for acceptance or risk being real and find true belonging. The third lesson is cultivate self-compassion and silence the inner critic. Brown found that perfectionism isn't the same as self-improvement. It's a shield we use to avoid shame. We think, if I look perfect, act perfect, and do everything right, I can avoid failure or rejection. But perfectionism doesn't protect us, it isolates us. Self-compassion, on the other hand, frees us. It means treating yourself the way you'd treat a dear friend with gentleness instead of judgment. Brown says, when we work from a place that says, I'm enough, we stop screaming and start listening. We're kinder and gentler to the people around us. The fourth lesson is develop resilience to shame. Shame is that quiet voice that says, you're not good enough. Brown's research shows that everyone experiences shame, but the difference between those who rise above it and those who don't is shame resilience. To build it, we must first recognize shame and name it. Then we must reach out and talk about it. Shame thrives in secrecy, but dies in empathy. When you share your story with someone who listens without judgment, you transform shame into connection. The fifth lesson is let go of numbing and powerlessness. Many of us deal with pain by numbing it through food, work, scrolling, alcohol, or constant busyness. But numbing doesn't just block pain, it blocks joy too. Brown teaches that we can't selectively numb emotions. When we shut out sadness, fear, and grief, we also shut out love, gratitude, and happiness. Instead of numbing, wholehearted people feel. They lean into discomfort. They practice mindfulness, noticing emotions without judgment and self-compassion when life hurts. The sixth lesson is cultivate gratitude and joy. Brown discovered that joy is not the same as happiness. Happiness depends on circumstances. Joy depends on gratitude. People who describe themselves as joyful don't necessarily have easier lives. They simply have grateful hearts. They practice gratitude daily, especially in difficult times. She says, it's not joy that makes us grateful, it's gratitude that makes us joyful. Gratitude grounds us in the present, reminding us that life's gifts, even the small ones, are enough. The seventh lesson is let go of exhaustion and productivity as a status symbol. In today's culture, busyness is glorified. We equate worth with accomplishment. But Brown warns that this mindset leads to burnout and emptiness. Wholehearted people rest. They prioritize play, creativity, and connection. They understand that joy isn't a reward for finishing everything. It's an essential part of a balanced life. She writes, we are a culture of people who've bought into the idea that if we stay busy enough, the truth of our lives won't catch up with us. The eighth lesson is cultivate creativity and play. Brown calls creativity the expression of the soul. Everyone is creative, but fear of judgment often shuts it down. She encourages readers to create for the joy of creating, to paint, write, dance, or build, not for applause, but for aliveness. Similarly, play is not a waste of time, it's essential. Play restores energy, fosters innovation, and keeps the spirit light. When we lose play, we lose our capacity for joy. The ninth lesson is trust intuition and faith. Wholehearted living requires surrendering control. Perfectionists crave certainty, but life doesn't offer it. Intuition, Brown says, is our body's wisdom, the quiet knowing that guides us when logic falls short. Faith, whether spiritual or personal, is trusting that we can handle what comes, even without guarantees. She writes, faith is a place of mystery, where we find the courage to believe in what we cannot see and the strength to let go of our fear of uncertainty. The 10th lesson is let go of comparison. Comparison is the thief of joy. Brown explains that when we measure our worth against others, we lose sight of our own path. Wholehearted people focus on their own growth, not others' approval. They replace comparison with celebration, celebrating others' success as proof of what's possible. The 11th lesson is cultivate laughter, song, and dance. Brown ends the book on a joyful note. Laughter, music, and movement are spiritual practices. They remind us to release self-consciousness and reconnect with joy. When we dance or laugh freely, we silence the inner critic and embrace our full humanity. She writes, there's no better way to invite grace, gratitude, and joy into our lives than by mindfully practicing authenticity. So how can you apply the gifts of imperfection in your own life? Start by letting go of the impossible standards you hold yourself to. Replace perfectionism with authenticity. Choose self-compassion over self-criticism. Practice gratitude every day. And most importantly, give yourself permission to be real, to be seen, loved, and enough. In a world obsessed with image and achievement, Brown's message is a gentle revolution. You don't need to be perfect to be worthy. You already are. The courage to embrace imperfection is the key to freedom, creativity, and connection. The big takeaway from the Gifts of Imperfection is this: your imperfections are not weaknesses, they are gifts. They make you human, relatable, and whole. When you accept yourself fully, you open the door to a life filled with love, laughter, and peace. That was The Gifts of Imperfection by Brené Brown, broken down into its most powerful lessons in under 12 minutes. Which part resonated most with you? Courage, compassion, or authenticity? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this summary, make sure to like this video, subscribe to 10-Minute Books, and ring the bell so you never miss our weekly breakdowns of life-changing books. Thanks for watching, and remember, you don't need to be perfect to live beautifully. You just need to be yourself.